introduce to you now. I'm going to ask each of them just in 60 seconds to explain to everyone what their companies do and a bit about their background. So first one up, Kavita, I'd like you to start. Kavita, founder of Voxter. Tell us in 60 seconds about yourself and what your company does, please.
Thanks, Alpesh, for inviting me, and DIT and TiE. It's a pleasure to be here. So we moved to the UK. I'm the co-founder of Voxter, which is a voice bot company. What we essentially do is help brands and clients connect and speak to their customers using our customized voice assistants, which are like Alexa or Google, but on clients' own mobile apps or their call centers. These are available in several languages, 9 at the moment, I think, and expanding. And I came to this very much from a background, not as a technologist, but as a consumer and a user expert with a background in the media. I had worked at the BBC for several years before I joined and co-founded Voxter. We decided that the UK was a great launchpad for access to global markets. We raised funding in the UK around the same time as we won a place on the GEP program. And we thought, looking at the sectors that we service, which are essentially financial services and e-commerce, to help people talk to their customers 24/7 with models including human customer service and our automated voice bots, the UK would allow us to access global markets. And that has been a belief that has been, very much proved true, because since moving here, we've had, contact with markets from the Middle East, with clients in the Middle East, clients in Europe, and of course, our home base in India.
Thank you, Kavita. You've given all the big secrets, which we're going to come to in a second, because I'm going to ask all of you entrepreneurs to tell me your secrets to the successes that you've had and name drop some of your big name clients, which you'll get an opportunity to do in a second. Nadia, I want to come to you next with Credit Enable. Tell me about yourself, why the technology is fantastic, and again, name drop some big name clients and your ambitions.
Sure. Thank you so much, Alpesh. Thanks to DTI and to TiE for having me. Credit Enable, you can think of us, we're a credit insights and technology company, but you can sort of think of us as a cross between a Credit Karma and Uber. And what we really do is help small and medium-sized enterprises access affordable financing when they need it most. We help them understand their credit profile, improve their credit profile, and most importantly, deliver them the loan they need right at the moment they need it. So benefit for the user, of course, is that all of that stress and hassle and complication of getting your financing that normally takes a global average of 6 to 8 weeks goes down to a few days or less. And for a lender, they're really only servicing people that they can actually underwrite and getting that distribution and logistics done really quickly for them. So delighted that we are able to actually be, I like to say that we were made in India and grown in the UK, or grown in the UK and made in India. But we operate in both countries, and it's been fantastic to be a UK-based fintech. Obviously, the ecosystem here is amazing in terms of inspiration, talent, and investment capital, and which we benefited from. And the Indian innovative ecosystem and the large petri dish you can have to experiment, also equally important to helping to grow a business.
And I think that draws upon a really important point, which is the companies in the Global Entrepreneur Program, they don't just close their doors to the country of origin. So, companies with an Indian base continue having that close relationship. And I know your company has got clients in India now. So you sort of, a bit like Cobra, you've sort of come to the UK and you're selling back to India as well. And that's a critical factor. We want companies to be global and access all these markets.
And just sorry on the client point is a very apt one, because we have in India, we work with like international lenders like Deutsche Bank and DBS, but we also work with domestic lenders there like the largest private sector banks. So we've been able to straddle different economies also with our client base.
And when it comes to your secrets of success, I'm going to ask all three panelists in a second how they got the big name clients, how they got the funding. We just heard from the British Business Bank about access to funding and what obstacles still remain. But before I do that, Samit, again, we've known each other because of the Global Entrepreneur Program for a number of years now. Tell me a bit about yourself and about the company and some of the big ambitions you've got. And don't be shy to name drop.
Oh, thank you, Alpesh. Thank you once again for this opportunity. After I worked almost for 20 years in big multinationals in health tech and medtech sector like J&J, Smith and Nephew, one personal story really changed my whole day. When one of my uncle is very close to my heart, he had a heart attack, and we could not able to take him to the hospital on time because lack of transportation. And ultimately, when we reached to the hospital, he could not be saved because it is too late for him. So that really changed my whole aspect. So after 23 years in healthcare sector, one hand you have global class healthcare sector, other hand your people were not able to reach on time. So how do we manage that gap between the service provider and to the end user, like a patient? So looking into that, I started Advert in 2010 in India. And we are the first one when we started in 2010 to start Book My Ambulance. Is an ambulance booking platform where we just match the like demand and supply and offer the ambulance on time. And so with the first one, we did very well. And then that time when you launch it to the international market, we invited a couple of big people from various countries. And Patricia Hewitt, that time the health secretary, she was traveling and she was quite amazed by the whole model. He said, yeah, you could come to UK. We are having some challenges on ambulance dispatch. This could be a good model. And as we started back in 2010 in Kolkata, we do not have similar support resources to grow and build the business. And then I came in touch with you. So that changed our whole prospection of the business, whole lookout of the business. And then we think this is the best place. So we should go and start doing business. So in 2012, then we started operating in UK and London became a headquarter. It was a fabulous journey. We have done extremely well, and I'll give you all those big names that people are trying to get that. Now, in our client list, we have NHS is one of client. We have 4 councils who are using our social transport model. We have 2 county councils who are already put us and their panel as a supplying of the adult social care model. And it really changed that whole service because we're the first one now in the globe which are offering transportation, service and technology under one platform. That is with Hippo Mobility. The Hippo by name is different because of the disability, and we started this and we are getting very good success. We are the first one in the world offering the live transmission of the whole journey with remote medical monitoring. So when we are transporting the most vulnerable people in the vehicle, we make sure that they are taken care properly, they're being protected properly, and they are taken to their destination.
Perfect. Thank you, Sami. And I think in case it's not already obvious to the audience, let me spell it out. The reason we want these types of outstanding entrepreneurs is because we know out of the UK, we can help them go global with all the resources you've already heard about, with the access to our networks, and that's our role. We want the DNA that is so commonly found in the Indian bloodstream, which is that DNA of entrepreneurship and that ambition to be global. But you guys have spoken obviously and rightly about your successes, but let's also be honest, it's not easy. You don't just turn up at Heathrow Airport or whatever and suddenly people are throwing money at you. So I want you to tell me about some of the big challenges you faced and how those were overcome. For instance, I'm going to start with you first, Kavita. Kavita, I know we've been trying to get, Voxter's solution, it could be revolutionary during COVID, the multilingual support, the AI part of it. And but it wasn't just that we could click our fingers and, everybody buys the product. So how have you overcome some of the customer acquisition hurdles, which would be, useful for our TiE audience to understand and learn from?
You're right, Alpesh. I mean, whilst it's nice to imagine that we get off to a flying start, there are obviously obstacles along the way. We have found, COVID-19 has been both a blessing and an enormous hurdle. A blessing because at times when, companies are looking to furlough staff, retail outlets and shop fronts are closed or banks are closed, it's really important for them to stay open, to keep talking and listening to the customer. And that's where we come in with our virtual bots. So, in the first few months, it was difficult because everything shut down and people were busy trying to keep the light on. But in reality, it's also created a market and a huge demand for our services, because people realize that if they're looking at staying open whilst cutting costs and looking at providing more phone lines to customers if they can't be there in person, then virtual assistants are the only way they can do that. And we provide this in different languages, which has opened up a new sector for us. When we arrived, we were only looking at financial services and e-commerce. In fact, as you know, Alpesh, we've actually had a lot of interest from the health sector, with people looking at getting information out to communities in multiple languages. And whilst it's an obvious use case and one which we turned our attention to after March, it was difficult with big structures like the NHS to break in, and Alpesh was critical in helping, draft emails and support us, literally getting his hands dirty. But we've also found that another successful strategy, which we've been able to pursue here, is to partner with organizations who are already supplying to the NHS or consulting companies, therefore enabling us to piggyback on their relationships and deliver a win-win for both the companies as well as the health services.
Yes, no, absolutely.
So I think we've approached it in that way. Look, if you can't get the direct route, look for partnerships, and also stress, our unique ability, which is that we enable people to talk to their customers whilst protecting their data, their user data, which has been critical.
And that draws me to an important point, which all three of you have in common, Nadia, which is the services you provide, each of your companies provides, it's got a bigger purpose than just simply, the bottom line and profits for your shareholders. Each one of you in your own ways is trying to solve some of the world's biggest problems. And that's the kind of companies we want in the Global Entrepreneur Program. It's the kind of global ambition companies who are trying to solve the big problems we want. Nadia, how did you overcome some of those hurdles of customer acquisition, and also just integrate into your answer how you've worked with government, how that's helped and hopefully not hindered, but helped you on that journey?
Yeah, sure. So like the healthcare sector, the financial services sector is difficult to penetrate. You're working with large financial institutions. In India, we work with Kotak Mahindra Bank, Bajaj, a whole slew of different organizations. They have different onboarding processes. They're less or more speedy depending on how digitized they are. And so you have to have patience to get through that as a startup entrepreneur, because although you're bringing a financial technology to the market that's increasing speed, those processes are not speedy. So you need runway in order to get yourself through the year or two that it gets to build that client base. How government has been, and what we really did was try to use the government channels as much as we could to break into some of those institutions at senior levels. So not just the UK government at the national level, but also even the mayor's program, which we were in the UK, which also helped us access some of those clients. And what I think government and what the government's role as that broker, that convener role, where they can really attract the senior level participation, can go really far to helping you get in the door a lot faster than you would ever be able to get in on your own. And that's something you do so extraordinarily well as well, Alpesh, to support companies. But certainly we've benefited from that.
You're both very kind, but I think it's important what you're saying is that those government resources from all our colleagues at the high commissions and deputy high commissions are out there. The Department for International Trade, when the UK government says it really wants to work with entrepreneurs, it's not just lip service, it really wants to do all it can. Sami, I know your company should have about £100 million in funding, and I know we're still working on that journey. Tell me about some of the hurdles, how you overcome them, share some of the secrets to success that you've had in overcoming those hurdles to the audience.
the best thing I can start with, because my first visa application was been declined, and because a lack of time, anybody I can bet on it in this world. If the visa application declined 5 times, they say now give it. It is not my cup of tea. But thank you for this GEP team, the visa and immigration team, Mark, Julian, Vivek. All these guys are extremely useful, knowledgeable, and they know how to tackle each and every individual cases and then come to solution. And when I'm talking to you, I'm very happy to share that I got my ILR just yesterday, and after 1 day application. So I submitted document on Friday. I got it on Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock. Then your ILR has been approved. So this is the kind of support you are getting. And hurdle, Alpesh, it is, and I always say the 5 fingers are not always same. Be it in India, be it in UK, hurdle are always there. We are entrepreneurs, and that is the reason we are entrepreneurs. We are going against all odds. And I know I till date we are not able to raise any money for my business, but I do not have any sad setback or anything, because that is not my cup of tea. I realize everybody has certain sets of skill. So my skill is to understand the market, build business and solution. And as you said, thankfully we are solving a solution which is a global challenge now. Everybody is living longer, and if you see globally, almost 8 to 10% people are registered as disabled. But unfortunately, they do not have any dedicated transportation for them. We heard stories every day and out. Companies like Uber, Lyft, additionally, everybody put passenger in a car. A blind person has been dropped middle of the road. They do not know where to go. So these are real-time challenges. And with Hypermobility, we are very satisfied that we are solving those solutions. We are helping those people to go out, enjoy the life. And now we talk about mental health. If you're not able to allow somebody to move freely, how you think that will be mentally stable or mentally fit? So
Yeah.
our solution, our service actually help that thing. So hurdle everywhere is there. You will have to have the hurdle, become an entrepreneur. But with the UK support system is so enormous and hand to hand. So I told you, we have been here in 2012, and in 2020, we're still working together. That is something enormous. I can't believe anybody can match it, anybody can beat it, anybody can deliver this end-to-end service that you are getting from DIT or GEP, to be more precise.
That's very kind. Thank you. And again, you guys are the best ambassadors we've I mean, and you, of course, Andrew, but alongside Andrew, the best ambassadors we've got for the UK. Kavita, I want to give each one of you 30 seconds to tell me what your big ambition is. And I ask all my Global Entrepreneur Program companies this. Tell me what's on the wish list, and we'll see how through our networks, or if nothing else, just our name, just the government name, we can try and get to who you want to get to. Tell me what's on your wish list for 2021 and how you're going to achieve it, because I think a lot of our TiE audience would like to see that, that ambition. It's always inspiring when you hear ambitious entrepreneurs. What's your wish list?
Alpesh, when we got on the London Mayor's FinTech delegation last year, we got a couple of clients with whom we're now doing pilots who are global clients, right, in the financial services sector. We want those 2 to become 3 more global clients out of the UK who I don't think we'd have been able to get from India. Secondly, I think, as we are trying our inroads into health, and we would also like to open 2 doors in that sector. But basically, we want corporates to own their own voice to their customers, not to be reliant on Google or Amazon. And if that's an ambition, hey, we're there. We want to rival Google and Amazon to give brands their own voice and their own user data.
That's exactly what we want to hear. Absolutely. We want to have that world-class ambition. Nadia, what's on your wish list that you'll also be calling on us in government to help you with in 2021 to achieve?
Sure. Well, I mean, we always have the ambition to be global and to build a unicorn business, like many of you are trying to do as well. But obviously our moonshot is really, we want to be $1 billion company. We want to do that as quickly as we can. And importantly, we've built a very nifty and efficient managed marketplace in India. And obviously we'd love to be able to replicate that model in the UK, where the need for SMEs to get financing in an effective and efficient manner when they need it most hasn't gone away because of COVID. It's only become more urgent of a need. So entering the UK and then going further abroad into other markets will be definitely the things we'll be relying on yourselves to help us with.
And Nadia, if there was one client you don't quite have yet that you want to get your hands on in 2021, is there one you can name that we can sort of focus our energies on to help you try and get?
Yeah, I mean, for our model works best when we have every form of capital at the table. So all of the four or five major UK lenders that operate in this space we want to have as clients. And we also on the Indian front want to onboard the public sector banks that offer the lowest cost of capital in the market. So a Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, these kinds of institutions are on our list too.
Right. Well, I know my colleagues are listening, but also I know the TiE audience is listening, and I guarantee you there's going to be some networking going on to make those Christmas wish list happen. Samit, what's your big? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the digibanks in the UK, the Starlings and the Revoluts, would be great for us.
Right. Well, Anne Bowden at Starling, I happen to know. Right. After this call, we'll get that intro sorted, Kavita. Samit. So people can see some of the deal making happening on air. Okay, so Samit, tell me, big hairy goal for 2021.
Yeah, I simply speak, I can't ask more than what you're getting from your team, GEP and DIT overall. But that gives us opportunity. So we have been invited by now US to start operation, which we are planning to launch by maybe March next year. We've been invited by German Trade and Investment and Thailand. Thailand is giving us 8 years tax holidays and 0 import duty on anything. So this is something really, and it won't be possible without the help and exposure of the GEP and DIT. And we want to be a partner of every disabled person in the world so that they can move freely the way they want, the way they wish. And that is the whole idea.
Thank you so much, Samit. All three of you, it's been the honor of my life working with entrepreneurs like you guys, and you guys really do inspire. You're fantastic ambassadors for your industry and also for the UK. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, and so I've got to hand it over back to Geeta. But I really want to thank not just all three of you as being absolute role models, and like I said, for entrepreneurs it's been a tough year, but you really do. Every time I hear you guys, every time I look on LinkedIn, and I want everybody to connect with you on LinkedIn, I look on LinkedIn and the awards you win, the competitions you keep winning, the client announcements, it's like every single day it ups the game for everybody. And that's why this whole program in the UK does this, because it wants entrepreneurs like this from around the world to have that global ambition and go global from a UK base. So I want to thank all three of you for being such wonderful ambassadors. Sorry, go ahead, Samit.
Yeah, one small statement for all the budding entrepreneurs and who are watching us live. Make it a decision, because this is the country where you get end-to-end support. And I can tell you, because when this COVID happens, we are just do not know what happened. But the way the British bank, and thanks to again a person like Jill who really helped us to get this thing, the money really came the next day. So we do not know. The business suddenly stopped. 31st March, we made a profit last year. 1st April, no business. And then the business bank, bounce bank loan comes, and that really helped us. The whole ecosystem is so entrepreneurial friendly. I can't compare it to anybody in the world that offering these end-to-end services.
Thank you, Samit. We're going to make sure the Prime Minister, not just of the UK, but pretty much every other country, gets to hear what you guys have just said. And look, I can't let a man have the last word. It's got to be ladies have the last word. Kavita, Nadia, do you want to come in with a last minute comment, either of you?
I think the practical advice has been, down to how you claim back tax credits on your R&D, which is critical for people like us because we invest a lot. We came here with a couple of research partnerships and a vision. We've ended up with a product and clients and a lot of visibility. I can't emphasize that enough. It works. Britain works for startups.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so many infrastructure pieces in place, including the R&D tax credits, which are vital to anybody working in the technology space in any shape or form, as well as the government's real dedication to connecting you to commercial opportunities. So, recently I just spoke on a panel that I was invited to by DTI, and out of that has come a major banking client. So it actually does really work in practice. And I'm grateful to also have just become a British citizen after many years of being here. So
Fantastic. Well, that's a great note to end on. Many congratulations on your citizenship, and welcome to becoming one of us.